Hey, residents of MeepleTown. Today we are looking at our top 10 tile placement games. If you listen to our podcast, you heard our top 5, but we're going a little farther
We're
this
going
one.
all the way to 10. Crank it up to 11.
Who knows? We might do 20 next time, right?
We may do 20 this time.
That's 20 total.
We will do 20 total. That's exactly right.
Actually, maybe. If we got some overlap, I guess we won't have.
Oh, that's true.
That's
Sometimes math. We definitely have a little bit of overlap. We know that. All right. So what do you think, Dean? Do you just want to dive right in and let's just go at it? Let's say before, something that I'm doing different on this one personally is I'm going a little bit more Dean's direction. Dean, you've sold me a little bit on this, okay? Like if you see me in the past, like with what was it? Worker placement like that we did. I was more focused on just anything that could possibly be worker placement. And I was lumping it all in. And this time I've decided to go Dean's route and be as pure as possible. So for my list, it's going to be games that you are getting a tile pretty much every single turn and you're placing it into something or onto something, and where you place it really matters. So the tile placement laying is the biggest mechanic, the most important part of the game. So right off the bat, I'll say that I chose, though these are absolutely tile placement games, to nix things like A Feast for Odin that I would have pretty high, to nix even, though this was tough, Castles of Burgundy. And that's because I think more about the dice and the dice choosing and the different things that you do than I do the placing of the tiles in Castles of Burgundy, because, you know, where you place it, a lot of it has to do with the dice that you're rolling, right? And you're not. So anyways, I don't fault anyone for putting that on a tile placement list. In fact, maybe I should have, but I chose not to. And I just wanted to say that before we go.
And I think it's fine. You had a lot of people that came to your defense on the worker placement list, but I wouldn't fault you if you put things like Castles of Burgundy. I mean, hey, it's your list. Do what you want to do.
You know why I decided to change it? Because I would have the same list all the time.
I'm amazing.
No, I mean, I would have the same, you know what I mean? Like a bunch of games would show up on all the lists, because if I did any game that had any kind of tile placement, well, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I would have a lot of duplicates. So I decided, you know what, let's get as pure as we can on these just for fun. It was actually more fun doing it that way.
Yeah.
So all right, well,
I'm going to start off. I'm ready to go.
Do it.
I'm going to start off with a game John absolutely despises. How about that?
Really?
No, I don't think you despise this game. I don't think you care for this game that much. I'm going to throw it up there.
Now you have me intrigued.
I'm throwing it up there right now.
Share your screen.
King Domino. Oh, man, that's a bit much.
Oh. No, I don't despise this game.
No, you do.
I just don't get the hype of it. I do. I mean, I get why it's very mass appealing.
In this game, you are just drafting these 1x2 tiles, and you're putting them into your kingdom. And there are some rules in how you do that. But basically, that's going to be how you score, how you're going to be scoring your points. And so I'm not sure what's going on there. That's not a...
Well, you're pulling up some great images there. Fantastic.
Okay, so how you score is if you look at this picture and you see all of those, the yellow tiles there. So you multiply each... like total of 3 crowns. So you multiply that 3 times however many squares of that type that you have. Mm-hmm. And then there's some bonus points that you get, but it's super simple, really fun, satisfying game. It plays in about 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it's a really, really fast game.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
You know what kind of ruined this game for me? And we've talked about this recently, Dean, and that is the hype. Everyone was so hype on this game. I was like, sweet, I can't wait to play it. It's not a bad game. It's just, I get the mass appeal of the game. I don't get, like, why do you really like it?
You don't get why I like it?
No. I'm asking you why. Like, why? What's the I don't know, the reason that you're like, yes, this is. I mean, top 10's pretty high.
So I like drafting. That's a part of it.
I thought that was probably why.
The puzzly nature, I think, is a lot of fun. Like, you have to make do with what's out there, even if it's not what you absolutely want to have. I like that a lot. But
and you like the simplicity, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that plays in 15 to 20 minutes, and for the amount of gameplay that you get in that time, I think it's fantastic.
That's one of the big selling points for you, I think, isn't it? I remember whenever you first got it, you were like, when my wife and I have played this multiple times in a row, because we just sit down and go, what can we play in 15 minutes? I get that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not going to be like the headliner of your game night, but But for a filler game, it's one of my favorites for sure. And I prefer this to Queen Domino. I like Queen Domino too a lot. I think it's a lot of fun.
I like
but
Queen Domino better.
I like the simplicity of this better.
Yeah,
So.
I understand that, I guess. Yeah, okay. Well, let me go wash my mouth
get
out
ready to
and gurgle some scope real quick.
Some faces for yours. All right.
So my first game, my number 10, is one that Dean doesn't like at all. So this is pretty awesome.
I don't dislike this game.
We get to go back to back. I don't dislike King Domino. I just didn't think it lived up to the hype. Sure. All right. My number 10 is Cottage Garden. Wow. Look at that. I dove right in. You know, I usually just want to like just make it last a really long time. So this is a Rosenberg game. You know, I picked this over Patchwork. I will mention that. Patchwork I quite enjoy and I really love. I don't know if it's on your list, Dean, but you really like. You can leave it on there for a second if you don't mind. I know you really like Patchwork. It's a little bit more simple, but I feel like Cottage Garden kicks it up just a notch, but it's still incredibly simple. And you are picking a tile from a maybe we'll see a picture of it here, but from a garden, from a grid, and then you're simply placing it on one of two of these. So you're going to have two of those. Yeah, you can see there. You have two of those fields. And a couple things that I like about it. I like the way that you're picking the tiles and that little gardener die is going around. And so you have to think ahead of time, right? You're thinking, okay, well, if I get this now, then 2 more turns, I'll have this available, unless she takes this, you know, or whatever. But what I like about it are two things. I like how your plots that you have, when you fill one, it changes. You get a new one. So you're constantly being given a new puzzle. And I think that's what I like about this is like it's not the same puzzle all the time. It's like, you know, it's similar stuff, but you're like, okay, now I've got this. All right, let me figure out how to make the polyominoes go over this. And then I like the scoring mechanic a lot in this game. You know, you've got to pick which ones you're going to move up. And you can't just sit there and divide them all up. And at the end of the game, you get a big jump in scoring if you go from like the 15 up to the 20 or whatever. And when you cross the red line, you get cats. It's cool. It's a simple game. I mean, what was it ranked? I mean, what, 1 point something, I'm sure. This is the lightest weight game that I have on this list for sure. But when I just want a fun, quick polyomino game, I don't know why this is only 6.9. Yeah. I don't know why King Domino is 7.4 and this is 6.9. That, you know.
Do you want my opinion? You don't.
I do want your opinion. Bring it on.
That's because it's a better game. Cottage Garden is fun.
Astute observation.
Cottage Garden is a fun game. Definitely not my favorite polyomino game. There's several that I like better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay though. It's fine. I
actually
actually
like Patchwork
prefer
better than this, don't you?
I do, and I prefer
because of the simplicity of it, or you like the buttons, how you can kind of build a little button engine, or I like that a lot about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I don't think it's the simplicity piece of it necessarily, but I actually prefer Indian Summer over Cottage Garden.
I got you.
I think it's a better game.
I haven't played it as much, so maybe that definitely factors into me putting Cottage Garden. I just kind of felt like maybe there's just a little. Sometimes I like a little more, sometimes I don't. Sure. And this is a little bit more simple, but who knows? If I play Indian Garden more, maybe I would say so. All right, that's my number 10.
Cottage Garden. Number 10, my number 9. I'm going to throw up another lighter game.
Man, we're like, people are going to get off this because of our comments. They're going to be like, I can't stand this. It's true.
All right, I'm throwing it up there. How about that? My number 9 is Karuba.
I shouldn't have started that. Dang it.
Karuba is a weight 1.47. Also rated higher than one Cottage Garden. How about that? It's a 7.2. This is one of those Haba games that was in that first line of like meteor Haba games, not kids games, but family games. And in this game,
it's Rudiger Dorn.
Yeah, it is Rudiger Dorn. People like Rudiger Dorn.
Istanbul or whatever. So if that's his big one right there, which is a really good game. I'll briefly stop you and say I've never played this, but I do because I want to because it's Rudiger Dorn. So continue.
Yeah. So
sell me on it, Daddy.
It's a super simple game, and actually you can play with the really young kids on this one, and it still be a lot of fun. Because what happens is you have one person who is the caller. They're going to be drawing a tile blindly, and they're going to be calling that number on the tile. So then everyone is placing that same tile onto their board. And if you look at this picture, you see that you've got temples on the side and you have these explorers. So you're trying to get the explorer to go to the temple that matches the color to the temple that matches the same color. And you're going to be picking up gold along the way and crystals along the way. And then you just score up your points. You get bonuses for being the first one to reach the temple.
Everyone's temples in different places or in the same place?
So the temple and the explorers are all in the same place. The only difference is where you're going to be placing your tiles and then how you move. So the movement in this is pretty interesting too, because you have a choice. You can either place a tile onto your board or you can discard that tile and move the amount of green spaces. So if you have an intersection that is, splits it up into 4 pieces, you have 4 movement for that explorer.
I got you.
And you can't just like run past a piece of gold. You have to actually stop in that space and pick it up. But the puzzly part of this one too, I think is really interesting. And I love this in Adventureland, the ones, these Haba family games where everyone in your family can play, even if they're really young and still feel like they're accomplishing a lot. I really like that a lot. So this one's seen the table quite a bit in our house.
It's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Can everyone just do the same thing?
You can. Yeah, you can do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But I've never had that happen.
Sure.
Oftentimes when you draw a tile, like your first tile, that seems like the obvious choice.
Yeah.
People are going to do that. I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
But
you don't know what's coming out. So then you're like, oh, I could do this intersection or I could move 3 steps forward. So let's move the steps forward. And the other person, yeah, I get it. I don't know if, but I guess, yeah. Anyways, okay, cool. I'd like to play this one.
Is fantastic too.
I'd like to play it. I'm not super excited about it, but I'd give it a whirl.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you like fun games, which apparently you don't. So,
well, my number 9 is a really fun game.
All right.
And you won't drown in the Reef.
That's a good transition there.
Basically, they call me the king of segues. You know that?
Who calls you this?
They do. They call me that. You ever ridden a Segway?
Yes, I have.
I always wanted to, but I never have. So my number 9 is Reef 7.1. So yeah, yours definitely are collectively higher according to BGG right now, Dean. But
just means I'm on the hype train apparently.
Yeah, but if you look at the top in abstract games, it's ranked 27. That's not too bad. Family games 124. With Reef, you're putting tiles onto your Reef, and what's intriguing is the 3D, kind of how you can stack tiles on top of each other in this game, which leads to, I like that. It leads to some interesting decisions. It's not just putting them side by side, but you can go put them on top, and whenever you're scoring them, it just counts for whatever you're looking at. But what I like about this game the most is deciding what order to put your cards in, whether to get a card or whether to play it. So whenever you have a turn, all you're going to do is play a card from your hand, which you can have 4 at the most, and they would be the cards there in the middle, or you're going to take one of those 3 cards, or you could pay a coin to take the one that's in the stack, the draw pile or whatever. But when you play a card, can you go show me a card real quick?
Oh, there we go.
Play this. Yeah, that's a
right?
Prototype right there. Whenever you
I didn't see the cubes on there. Yeah, hold on.
Here, click on where you were at the beginning. Or that's fine. No, that's fine.
Bunch of cards.
So whenever you play a card, what's really interesting is you have to take the 2 pieces on top and place them onto your Reef, and then you score the bottom if you have those. This can be a kind of thinky game, don't you think? And that's what I really like about this is it's very simple to understand. But because you have to string your cards together in the right order to score points, and you have those pools like, oh, I really want those 2 tiles, but that scoring I won't get any points for playing that because I don't have that. And trying to figure out how to make those chain together, I really like Reef. And it's 30 minutes or so. It's a great game.
I love this game a lot. I think it's fantastic. And honestly, the reason why I didn't put it on my list, because I considered this one, is that they weren't traditional tiles. So it is totally a tile placement game. It's just I got locked into the cardboard tiles and.
Yeah,
anyway.
I thought about that for a second, but I'm like, nope, it's absolutely, you're getting a tile. I mean, you're getting a card or tiles every time, but I mean, the whole game is where you place your tiles and scoring it. So I love it.
Yeah.
I
Table presence
really
is
do.
amazing on this one too. There's a new version of this coming out. I can't get to any of the pictures, but they've redone the tiles.
Oh, really? Good thing I
Yeah.
just bought the old version.
That's the only difference though, is the color of those tiles that I remember. There's like a gray, and I don't remember what the gray replaced, but it might be for color blindness issues. I'm not sure.
Picked this up at the flea market for $15 a couple months ago, and yeah, the only thing I don't like about it is my wife doesn't like this game, so I don't get it played very much. Bummer, huh?
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Would you shed a tear for me, dear Deanie?
I'll just play the game with you. How about that?
That sounds like a great plan. All right.
You ready for another light game from Dean?
Oh, I'm ready. We've started off with some lighter games, haven't we?
Yeah, these are, and that's cool. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of lighter tile placement games. That's interesting. Is that a gateway mechanism, maybe, tile placement?
Could be. Sure.
All right. So my number 8, is that what we're on?
Yes, sir.
Is a Cacao game. That's what it's called, Cacao. This is a Phil Walker Harding game, which
you sound like a chicken.
Cacao.
Cacao. Cacao. Chicken doesn't make that noise. A bird.
Chicha.
A chicken.
Do you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yes. Okay. And that's right.
Okay. So I really like Phil Walker Harding, a designer that has some good tile placement games. This is my favorite. So in Cacao, let me throw a picture up there.
It's your favorite game?
First, I'm going to show you this insert. Check out this insert.
My
favorite
gosh.
Phil Walker Harding. This is why I like it, because
game.
of the insert.
I know.
It's so satisfying putting everything back. Look at that. Look at the meeple spots. You like that?
Yeah. They do look nice.
All right. So on this turn,
insert a game doth not make.
So that's not a good one where I want to start. Here we go. Let's look at a picture that shows the game in progress a little bit here. So if you look on there, you're going to see, if you look really closely, I guess you'll see that in the tiles that are, in the main gameplay, it's kind of this checkerboard pattern of worker tiles and jungle tiles. And the worker tiles are going to determine how many of the jungle actions that you're going to take. So for example, if you look at the worker tile, again, I need to find some better pictures here. Let's see. Maybe this is a little bit better.
Zoomed in a little better.
Yeah, maybe that's a little better. So, okay, if you look at that white worker tile at the bottom, it's the tile that has the meeples on the outside of it. Mm-hmm. So there's one that has a 3, a side that has 1, and then 2 that don't have any. So you're not going to be able to produce any actions from those tiles. But in the way that they place this one, they're going to get 2 gold times 3. So they'll get 6 gold for placing that there. And gold is basically victory points. You're also going to be collecting cacao, and you're going to be selling the cacao. And again, every action that you take is determined by how many workers that you have in that spot. So it's a puzzle game. And as you put your worker tiles out, if they form this like corner with another worker tile, then you put the jungle pieces out there. So you're actually only, in your hand, you only have worker tiles. And then as you're filling out the board, you're going to be drawing from the jungle.
Does the action happen when you place your tile?
Yeah. So it happens when you place your tile.
What if the jungle comes in later? Does it happen then or no?
So when you form that little corner
it's immediately placed.
Then you're going to draw that and put that in. And sometimes you'll put 2 jungle tiles out there at one time. It's a puzzle game, super quick. This is a game that in a 2-player game you can play in, 20 minutes probably. But it's just really satisfying. The expansion adds some really cool stuff too, where you're converting cacao into chocolate and then selling the chocolate for even more than the cacao. It's a really, really fun game. One that my wife and I will play, a few times in a row. It's just good times.
I'm intrigued by it. I've never played cacao, and I should now.
It's super unique. I don't know any other game that has this, like, that worker on tile mechanism. I just think that's really cool.
All right. You sold me on this one.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Yeah. We'll play this one.
All right. So that was your number 8. My number 8 is a game I fairly recently picked up. I've been talking about it for a while, Dean, and that is Fields of Green. So how about that, huh?
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me.
That's the hip hop version. So if you've played Among the Stars,
which I have.
And you have played Fields of Green. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to talk about Among the Stars because I've never played it, actually. I really am. I'm not going to lie, Dean. I'm intrigued by I like sci-fi, no doubt. I like a good farm game. You know that about me.
Oh, we know.
You know I like a good Euro farm game. So in this game, you're going to be drafting these tiles, and you're going to be placing the tiles onto your farm. When you do so, you might get a benefit. But also, so some of the tiles will give you immediate benefits. Other tiles are going to activate during the harvest phase. And the harvest phase is interesting in this, Dean. So leave this on here. So if you see, like, maybe in the middle, that red card that has a circle with a 2 in it and wheat, whenever you get to the harvest phase, you have to take 2 of your wheat and place them onto that card to activate whatever bonus it says. If you're unable to activate all your cards, they actually get flipped over, the ones that you can't activate. So, but you might activate that card, Dean, that gives you some other resource, and then you can move it to, the next card to activate. So it's a puzzle. You don't have to lay them all out at one time. So you might have this that kind of sets this off, that gives you this, and now you can move it over here that gives you that. And it's pretty intriguing, actually. And then you have, if you see the tiles on there, the cardboard pieces, those are equipment tiles, which are new, that Among the Stars doesn't have, I believe. And those will just give you in-game bonuses or perpetual bonuses as the game progresses, different things like that. But it's just interesting. It's a good drafting game. You also have to build some of your things, the things that you're building, you're having to build them a certain amount of 2 spaces away from water towers. And so the way you position the tiles can actually really matter. There's a lot of tiles that'll say you get in-game scoring for every chicken or poultry within 2. So you're constantly thinking of the way you're placing it. And then what I think you'll like is that harvest phase, because it does have that engine build feel where you're like, this is what I produce, but I still have the puzzle of trying to make sure that I cover everything and produce to my maximum. So there you go, Dean.
I'm intrigued, and I'll try this game, but I really did not like Among the Stars.
That's interesting, huh?
At all. Yeah. It's been a while. I mean, years since I've played that game, and I only played it once, and I just did not have a good experience. So, but I'd like to try this if this is a kind of a second edition type idea behind the game.
Well, look at that pink baby pacifier on the table there.
Is that part of the game?
You need to put that into your mouth from all that whining that I'm hearing about Among the Stars.
Is that the first player marker in this game?
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right.
I like it a lot. I like it. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, I like this game a lot. It's good.
All right. I will probably never play that.
Probably not.
So my number.
You should, though. I think you would like it.
What number are we at right now on 10, 9, 8, 7? Is this number 7?
Board Game Geek Gale 3407. 7.
Isle of Cats.
Whoa!
I actually didn't mean
with
to
the quickness. Number 7.
This is okay. I'll go ahead and say I had a big debate in my mind whether or not this or Patchwork would make the list. I really like Patchwork, and I'd say it's probably number 11 on this list if I had to guess. But Isle of Cats is a game that I have quite enjoyed. And this is a game that involves.
You want to show the cat pieces? See, here he goes again.
Components.
Let's look at the insert. Let's look at the cat pieces. Tell me about the gameplay, Dean. Tell me why I want to play it. I don't care about that.
You get to play with these little cat.
Those are not the ones you get in the base game.
No, this is the deluxe version of it.
Those are nice.
Yeah, it's noise, as the kids say. All right, so
the reason why I like this game still?
No, they don't.
Don't think so.
They don't. I say it to the kids and they cringe. So there we go. All right. So in Isle of Cats, you are drafting. You have this drafting phase where you get these cards that determines what you can do with placing cats out on the board. So if you've ever played Bunny Kingdom, which John, I don't think you've played Bunny Kingdom. No. The drafting part of Bunny Kingdom is really similar to Isle of Cats. I mean, like, really similar. It's definitely, I would imagine, had some sort of motivation from there. But you are also, in this game, which you don't do in Bunny Kingdom, you are placing these polyomino cat pieces on your ship. And let me see if I can find a game in progress. So you're placing.
They're all sprawled out creepy.
Yeah, they are. By the way, I'm not the biggest cat guy. This creeps me out a little bit, maybe. Just like you said, the way that they're kind of sprawled out on the ship. But you are building these, you're putting them out on your ship, and you are trying to create these.
Am I making you uncomfortable
groups
right now?
A little bit. You're trying to create these groups of cats of the same color, and you're going to be getting points from that. You're going to be getting points from these lesson cards that you're going to be drafting, your treasures, which are out on the ship. Lots of ways to get points. But I really like the way the polyomino piece plays in this game, along with the card drafting and everything else. So I like this one a lot. Really fun. It'd probably be on my top drafting list too, if I had to guess.
Really? Wow. Really?
Maybe. I just threw that out there. I don't know.
Whoa.
Who knows?
That's some high praises. We just reviewed this a couple podcasts ago. If you're interested, you can go to MeepleTown on iTunes, whatever, Spotify, Google Play. I thought the game was good, not great for me. Yeah, I just don't think I thought I would love the card drafting with the polyomino play. I think it's fine. And again, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. It just didn't give me, I don't know, man. It's just, you kind of
get the feels from this one.
Yeah. I just don't, I guess I didn't like the drafting phase as much as I thought I would, even though there's some interesting decisions. I just kind of want a polyomino and place it on which again is usually not me. But I also think that the ship stays the same. Now, the difference in the puzzles are the ships do have the different placement of those scrolls, But I think when I'm playing polyomino, the reason I would like Cottage Garden better is I like how you're constantly being given a new puzzle. And this is kind of the same thing. But the difference is the cards by far, which do change every single game. So
yeah, and
I just want a more polyomino feel, I guess. Maybe I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, and the tile placement is, out of all the tile placement games that I've picked, I think this is probably the one that's not like necessarily the main focus of the game. The drafting is really important in this game. But
that's
the tile
true,
placement
Dean. You shouldn't be allowed to put this on there.
No, the tile placement is really important in this game.
It is, though.
But it's just not like the only thing. And I like the way also, if you see on this one that you've got those little green tiles, which are the baskets, you actually have to have a basket and the amount of fish to pay for the cats that you're taking to put on your ship. I think that's interesting too. So you're not just getting whatever you want to put on your ship. Kind of like Patchwork, where you have to pay buttons for the tiles. So
yep, a lot of people really like this game. So if you are intrigued, you should check it out. It just kind of fell into an okay category for me, but it's good. It's good.
Plus, you can play animal upon animal with the cats,
like a little mini game.
Yeah,
there you go.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna see. Wait, what is this one ranked?
Oh my gosh, this one, it doesn't count. There's not enough. Oh, it's 2,000 ratings. Look at that. That's high.
8.2.
I get it, because I think people love card drafting and people love polyomino. We put them together, it makes sense. So I'm not going to hate on this game at all. It just didn't do it for me.
It's fun.
So there you go. All right, so that was your number 7, by the way.
7, yeah.
My number 7 is going to be a highly rated game. This is one that you may not, MeepleTown, you may think, is this John's style? But I'm going to put it up there. Go ahead, Dean. T&E, baby. Tigris and Euphrates. And you may say,
do they
John,
call it T&E? Does anyone call it T&E?
I do. I do to myself whenever I'm alone. I just kind of talk about it. So, and this is fairly high. This is my 7th favorite. You may think, John, why do you like this game? Because you don't like tactical kind of games. And I don't know. Yeah, this one does it for me, though. This one scratches my itch right here. Dean, can you scratch my itch virtually? Right here.
I will not.
All right, pull up some pictures. Let's talk about this thing. 7.7. Go up. Hey, sorry. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Never mind. I was just going to see what it's rated overall. I know it's really high. I know it's a lot higher than Isle of Cats, if you want to talk about that.
That's right. It's been out for 20 years.
I know.
23 years.
Ranked 81 overall. Yeah. Still. That's
people love this game.
I mean, we're talking 1997, 20 years ago. This game is still ranked 81 overall, and there's a reason why. So in this game, tile placement really matters. You're either going to be placing your leader onto the board or moving your leader or taking it off the board or placing one of the civilization tiles. But in this, what I like about it, it is super cutthroat. I told Dean before the podcast started, and it's not a podcast, we're doing a YouTube video. Oops, I guess with my microphones and stuff, I was thinking podcast. Last night I played this with my wife, and she's not going to watch this video, so I'm allowed to say. she left angry from the table, and we were going to play another game. We were going to play Reef, and she refused to play it with me. So if your feelings are a little sensitivo, then you don't want to do that. Sensitivo is not a word. So my apologies for making up words like distinctify and stuff, as I do.
It's Italian, I think.
It's what I do. I just make up words. Because you're going to be joining, when civilizations, tiles join together, kingdoms join together, you're going to have an all-out battle. You can also put your leader into someone else's, into another place where another leader is. If it's the same color, you're going to have an internal conflict. So you're constantly battling back and forth, and where you place, when you place, really matters. And what I really like about the game the most is the way it scores. So there's 4 colors, and you're going to be getting 4 different types of cube colors. And at the end of the game, the one that you have the least of is your score. So if I have 20 greens, 18 blues, 17 reds, and 2 blacks, my score is 2. So like, what I love about that, it's really strategic, because like last night my wife was beating me. She had a great engine going, but I stopped her getting red cubes, and I just said, I'm not going to let her get any more red cubes. And she had it worked. Honestly, it worked. And so she couldn't get a lot of them. And I was focused on that. And so there's a lot of different, I think with a lot of tactical games, it's kind of like Onitama, which I like the game. It's like or chess or something, you're getting their piece, you win. Here, there's a lot more going on, and there's a lot of different things that's taking place, and you're trying to get different color cubes. So there's a lot of different strategies, though. There's a million strategies in chess. It's a brilliant game. So I hope I don't want you to think that I'm saying that, but I like how there's a bunch of different paths to victory and avenues that you can take. And the warring, Dean, it's serious, man. You got some tiles behind your screen, maybe going for an internal conflict. There's a couple, it's 2-2. Whoever attacks puts 2 tiles out, and then you put 2 tiles out and you tie them as a defender and you defeat them and they go away. Kind of like Blood Rage.
Nothing like Blood Rage. All right, so I have only played the app version of this game. I need to play this game. I think this is one I would probably like. Man, this is an ugly game. This is the old version, right? I don't know.
I have the ugly version.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what the new version looks like. But
wowzers, the newest
is not pretty.
It's not really the new, but Yellow and Yangtze is something I've never played, which is a kind of a re-implementation or a part 2 of this. The battling is a little bit different, but hexes instead of squares. That's kind of nice. But yeah, I have to say, yeah, it's not the prettiest of games. It looks like it's from 1997.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because that's when it came from.
See, this is what Dean goes to, y'all. Like, we're talking about gameplay and all this. He's like, it's not that pretty.
It's not. It's not. It is. Actually, that's not what I said. I said it was ugly. It is ugly. But I will try this one again. I've played the app version. That was it.
I want to play this with you and Jonathan. I think that
people who really dig this kind of game. Yeah.
I just think it would be. I think we would have a lot of fun, actually. So
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you
I
go.
remember it when I played the app version. I remember it feeling like weird. Like the gameplay seemed so bizarre because it's so different than things that I had played, and it was hard to wrap my mind around.
Yeah, I think it would be one of those things where, especially tile placement on apps, is not always the best. It can be good, but sometimes it's hard to see what's going on and get the bigger picture and stuff.
Yeah.
And this has a huge board, right? It's a big board, and to see everything that's going on, I haven't played the app, but I also heard the app is not that great anyways. Sorry if maybe great. I've never played it.
My number 6. Number 6 is a game that was one of the first tile placement games I played. Also one of the first games that I owned. I bought this one pretty early on, I feel like, in gaming. That might not be right. I just made that up. You want me to keep talking about that? I know what this was. This is the one that I picked up because it was like Carcassonne that I liked. And this one had that same feels a little bit, and that is Isle of Skye. This one is on BGG weighted 2.24. So again, not a super heavy game.
Yeah.
But it is Alexander Pfister, which is one of your faves. And
he is. No doubt.
This one it's ranked pretty high too.
This one is on my list too. You should have held it till when it was my turn.
Nope, not gonna do it. This is where it is on my list.
I'm not going to talk about it then. My lips are sealed.
You want me to hold off? Nope, I'm talking about it.
No.
So a couple things I like about this game. One, whoops, let me go back. I didn't mean to click that.
Oops-a-daisy.
So one of the things I like is that when you start the round, you have these 3 tiles and you have to choose to get rid of one and then set prices for the other 2. And that price setting part I think is really interesting because you don't want to, if you want somebody to buy it, you want it to make it appealing, but you want to get the most money out of it that you can.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's tiles that you really want to keep. And so you want to set the price high enough so that you're not spending too much money. High enough that you can keep it, but also like low enough where you make sure that you're not spending a ton of money on that tile unnecessarily. Yeah. I think that's really cool.
It is. I will unzip my lips. But while you're making that decision, you also, when you put the money in front, like you can't use that. I mean, when you put the money on the tile, you can't. So like, you're like, dang, I want to raise the price, but then it's going to leave me with 2 coins, but I really want that tile that she has. Shoot, I don't have enough money. She's not going to have it for that much. So it does. It's really an interesting balance with that auction kind of phase, setting the prices, whatever.
And also the balance between like engine building, because you need to get money. Like money is really important in this game. So you can build an engine where you have these gold coins going on a road back to your castle. That's how you get money from your income phase. But you also are trying to pay attention to the scoring, which is I know this is a part that you love, John, so I'll let you talk about this part, but the scoring at the end of the round, I think is really interesting.
Yeah. I'll just talk about it now when we get to it. We'll just kind of breeze on past it. Okay. I'll briefly just make it a long drawn out, really, really suspenseful, like I am now.
All right, that was my number 6.
So no, the scoring is really cool because you're going to score different. You have A, B, C, and D and E. Is there 5? Oh my gosh, I played this game so much.
I think there's 5. Yeah,
there's
5.
Right?
I can probably pull that up.
Yeah, I think that there's 5. But what's cool is that you don't just score A, B, C, D, and E. You actually are going to score different ones. It's almost in the shot there. You're going to score different letters. All the letters multiple times in this game, which is really cool. So you're sitting there thinking about, all right, I'm scoring. No, it is just 4.
D.
No, it isn't. Mm-hmm. Is it? It's 4 spots. Yeah. Dang it. I was wrong. How can I be wrong? How can I play this so much and I forget stuff like that? Whatever. Who cares? I'm done. Wait, actually, I don't need to make the sound of me walking away. I actually can walk away now. But yeah, so it may be A in the first round, or B and C or something in the second. I can't remember how it is, but I like that. But then I also like how you have those scrolls or whatever on the tiles, which are going to be in-game scoring. So you're constantly balancing. Oh, do I want to score points now, or do I want to be heavy at scoring at the end of the game? What's the best? How am I going to maximize my points with the tiles that I'm given or the ones that I want to get? It's a brilliant game. It's fun.
It really is. I think the reason why we both got it wrong, you have 5 scoring rounds.
That's what
but there's 4 scoring tiles that are placed out there.
Yeah.
This is a really, really fun game. Actually, it's kind of tough for me. These could have this could have easily been in my top 5 as well. This is a shot of your screen, so you're setting your prices for the tiles that are out in front of you.
Yeah.
Such a cool game. Now, I will say, my one knock on it is that piece too. I really like when you're setting the prices on those tiles, but it does slow the gameplay down. And then having to score the way you do each round slows the game. So you're not building like these huge sprawling cities like you are in Carcassonne, right?
That's true. They don't end up
the amount of tiles.
Big. Yeah.
Right. But that's a slight knock. I still really love this game.
Yeah, we mentioned on the podcast when we talked about it that is my only. The only negative is if you play with the wrong group of people, then I've had this game take forever because they were just like mulling over their decisions on how to set prices forever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just make a decision and go, please. But most of the time I have a blast with this game. I think only once or twice did I have a kind of funky group and it wasn't as good. And it was their first time to play as well. So it is hard to set prices in any kind of auction-y game when you've never played it before.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, what really is the right, So anyway, all right, there you go. That is your number 6.
6, yep.
All right, so my number 6 is a. I can't say hoot because it's a choo-choo.
It's a whistle of a time.
I'm the king of segues. Steam. Or Steam Rails to Riches. Or Martin Wallace's totally renamed train game. Or Age of Steam, as it were now. As you say, as it were. All right, Dean, why don't you pull this up? 7.6. This is your boy, Martin Wallace. Have you played this?
I've only played the app version.
Okay. Scroll down. Let's look at a couple picks, yo.
All right. I wanted to pull up the new version because it's so much prettier.
Yeah, I know. He wanted to, and I said, you know what? This is the version that I've played. So that's cool. That's good.
That's a cool shot, though.
That's a good shot. Go to the next one.
What do you want?
Oh, there was another one. Scroll down just a hair. There was another one that had like a better overview. That's a little bit better. Yeah. All right. So in this game, you're going to be choosing roles, first of all. So it's like Puerto Rico, where it's not like Puerto Rico. You're going to be choosing roles, which are going to determine maybe what order you're going to be placing your tiles, or are you going to put little cubes on cities, and are you going to take city tiles and put them onto the spaces you see that don't actually have tiles that are just part of the board? You're going to be getting a bonus for whatever role that you choose. But basically in this game, you're going to be purchasing these railroad tracks here, and you're going to be delivering goods from city to city. And the further it goes, and you can only use your tracks that you build, or you only score points, for the tracks that you build, but you can use other people's tracks, but they score victory points when you use their tracks. So it's really an interesting balance of where you place the tiles in this game is hugely important, because you want to be able to, you score points for every path that it goes. So you want to be able to go as far as you can, so you can score 5 points or 6 points or whatever. I think that's the most you can do on a turn. But also you want to build tracks to where hopefully other people are using your tracks, so that you're constantly getting points when they want to go from here to there. And so it can be cutthroat in that sense as well, but you can build around people's tracks and different things like that. But it's a fun puzzle when you're playing this game, and it's got a little bit of engine building when it comes to your income and some different things like that. But
yeah,
do you like it or no?
Yeah, I like the app of it. Again, I need to play the physical copy of this, but I think this is one that I would like better on the table. But there's a lot of these, the Railways of the World games that I have not played that I really want to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a good game. It's a good game.
Yeah, I'll check this one out. All right, my number 5. We're in the top 5 now. It is a real-time game. This is a Vlada game.
Oh.
Galaxy Trucker.
Another one.
What's that face?
I'm telling you.
What? You like this one?
I don't. And we've already had this discussion, you and I, but I guess the YouTubes. I've only played the app, so I got to be careful on that.
All right. So in this one, you've got a big pile of face down tiles, and you are drawing those tiles so you can build up your ship. You're going to have like blasters on your ship.
I'm going to lay a big pile in this game.
Oh, you're going to have these battery pods. You're going to have these boosters. You're going to have all different kinds of things on your ship. You need to have these cargo bays where you can hold the cargo that you're going to be getting in the second phase of the game. So the first place is just that, like straight up tile placement game, drawing blindly, placing it on your ship. You don't have to place it. You can put it back in the pile, but you need to do it quickly because you're trying to get yours built in time so that somebody else doesn't finish theirs and you're stuck with this ship that's just going to fall apart. Then the second phase of the game, you're drawing cards, and that's going to determine what's going to happen. So like pirates might come and try to take things out of your cargo bays, or you might be getting attacked, or there's lots of different things that can happen. Now, I will say the second phase of the game is not my favorite. Sorry, I'm trying to find some better shots here. Second part of the game is definitely not my favorite, but I still really enjoy that part of it for like a hoot and holler type of game.
Yeah.
Of just seeing what happens once you build your ship.
There he is looking at the components again. Here we go again.
Yeah, I can't find a good
I'll talk about my experience on the app. That this is another one that it's got tons of hype, right? I mean, a lot of people really love this game. And so I'll first of all say I don't like real-time games. So that's going to take a knock on it for me. And then secondly, I don't like the second phase either. It's just kind of like, it just kind of plays out. I mean, there are some decisions that you're making for sure,
Yeah.
but it's like I build this whole thing and then we just let's see what happens. And so I get someone saying, "Here's my engine I've built, so let's see how well it does." But I don't know. It just gave me no feels. In fact, it's one of my least favorite apps that I own, which is going to be contrary to the ratings on most of the apps out there. I just don't like most real-time games.
Yeah, and I get that. If you don't like real-time games, this will not change your mind. But now I will say this, that there's some, you can see the cards that are going to be coming out, right? So it's not like it's a total blind thing that's going to happen, but it definitely slows you down when you do that. So, but it's just good fun. It's not like this, huge strategic game or anything like that. It's just like I said, a hoot and holler game where you can see what happens after you built this junky ship. It's funny, like you might have this really trashy, junky looking ship that might still do better than everyone else just because of the events that come out. So
it's cool.
Yep. Fun times.
There you go. Well, my number 5 is, go ahead, Dean, Isle of Skye. Let's talk about it all over again.
We're skipping it.
Yeah. Just want to say again, hey, control up a little bit. Clemens Franz, Alexander Pfister, how can you go wrong?
That's right.
It's a good solid game. It's a good solid game. A lot of these though were really pretty close. Like you talked about earlier, like Tigris Euphrates is a brilliant game. I think that's one that could continue to rise for me the more I play it. Because I haven't played it a ton because my wife doesn't like it. And when that happens, and then it's better at higher player counts too. So I don't get it played that much. So anyway.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So on to my number 4, which is another real-time game, Sorcerer City.
7.8. Dude, you are pandering to the crowd right now.
I didn't realize this was rated that high.
It's only got 500 ratings, which is sad. For this game is good.
Yeah, I don't think this one is the prettiest game in the world. And again, if you don't like
the box is awesome. Dang it, components and prettiness.
Yeah, it's important. What I'm saying is, like, if that's the thing that's going to draw people in, right?
Yeah.
And so
the box is beautiful. I love the box.
We're all. I'm more shallow maybe than most when it comes to like components and things, but we all have that within us. So in this game, you are going to be drawing these tiles.
It's functional.
You start off with these tiles, and the tiles are functional. That's what they are. They're not pretty, I don't think. Although this picture is really cool. So
it's a cool picture.
In this game, you each start off with, I think it's 12 tiles, and you're going to be placing them on your board kind of Carcassonne style, where you don't have to match up the colors, but you want to because it's going to benefit you. These shields are going to tell you what you're going to get at the end of the round. So it might be you're gaining influence. It might be you're gaining prestige, which is victory points. You might be gaining gold, which is the yellow, and or blue, which is the magic. And I said that right. So you're going to place those real time. You're actually on a timer on this one. Depending on, there's an app for the timer you can play with. 2 minutes, I think, is what we normally do. And once you place all those out, then you're going to move up on the tracks. Man, it's really hard to find some good pictures.
Look at that.
Too. So, whoops, that's not what I meant to do.
Oh, I thought you wanted to show the tray.
You're going to move up on you're going to move up on these tracks, and that's going to determine what tiles you can buy, and what the turn order, victory points, all that stuff. Your magic converts into one of those other 3 tracks. And so this game has a feel of Carcassonne, it has a feel of Galaxy Trucker, and it has a feel of Dominion, because you're actually deck building with the tiles that you buy. And so you're going to be playing through 5 rounds of this, I think it is. And you're again building up your deck that's going to help you and sometimes hurt you, because you're also taking monsters into your deck, and those monsters will do things that will hurt you as you're placing the tiles out there. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this. There's a lot of stuff in the box too. Like there's a ton of tiles, and which is good for the deck building part, because there's a lot of different options there. If you got the deluxe version, you got these amazing, some of the best metal coins that have these ridges that stack like that. You like that? Is that
they're cool. I just don't get I don't get as jazzed about components as you do, man. They're cool though.
Yeah, this is not why I love this game. This is just a really fun game. I like games where you move up on tracks, so that's a big positive for me. I like deck building. This has that piece of it, and real time and tile playing. Like it's got all the things I like.
This game needs more love. You know, I think there was like 500 and something. I mean, it's the ones that have rated it really high. I mean, it's not that highly rated for me because I don't like real-time games, but for a real-time game, this is probably one of my favorites. It's a really good game. If you like real-time games and you also like deck building, it's cool, man. Yep, I don't fault you at all for putting this on there.
Yep. A lot of fun.
I fault you for some of the other picks.
Dear number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is a game that is an absolute blast, and I don't own it. Heaven and Ale. I'm going quicker this time, Dean. I'm diving right in this time.
I like it.
I like it. So this is a Kiesling game, which is really, really cool. Kiesling Schmidt game, and let's go ahead and pull it up. It's ranked 7.6, which is pretty high, or pretty good rating, and 155 overall. Not bad, right? But I'm not worried about following the crowd. Okay, I want to not follow the crowd.
I got you.
The crowd follows me. You got that? That's not true at all. All right, so in Heaven and Ale, you do have a Dean. Click the rondelle. That's a few over. There's a better picture of the rondelle. That's zoomed in. It's like a couple more over there. There we go. So you do have a rondelle in this game. So this is the one that has the most other things besides tile placement, I guess. But I mean, you are getting a tile or scoring like every single round. So tile placement is hugely important in this game. But I do love a good rondelle. So you're going around. You're getting the tiles for the harvest goods or whatever, or you're getting monks, which can do, I'm not going to go in details of what all those can do, but you're going to place them, if you scroll down just a hair, Dean, on the sunny side or the shady side. Dean always places on the shady side. You know why?
Because you get money?
Because he's so shady. He's slim shady. So if you place it on the shady side, you're going to get income money based on putting it over there. And it's also a lot cheaper to put it on that side versus you have to pay a whole lot more to put it onto the sunny side. But that's going to get you the production that will move you up tracks. Dean talked about track. If you see on the left-hand side there, you're going to have tracks that you're going up. In this game, it's like Tigris and Euphrates, where your least one is, that's the proper English, where your least one is you're going to be your score. I don't know why I like that mechanic. I do, because I think because you have to constantly think of multiple things and make sure you're not just going down one path and scoring a bunch of points that way. I think that's really, really cool. But you also have the brewmaster that you've got to get high so that you can do some weird scoring. Some people may say weird, but I love at the end of the game when you're doing those ratios back and forth. I'm not going to explain that here. If you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. This is a brilliant game. Where you place your tiles matters tremendously, hugely, amazingly, though it is not as much of a tile placement game when you add kegs and more, though it is a hugely tile placement game. That really kicks it up a notch. So that's an expansion. I didn't say that. This game is awesome. Why is this not on your list?
I have this. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It very well could be. It's rated like higher on my list. Like I have this rated higher than several games on this list, but it's just not on there. I don't know. This would be on my moving up tracks list probably because I really enjoy this game a lot.
Such a good game.
I like it a lot.
There you go. That's my number 4.
Another game I like a lot is my number 3. What am I at? Number 3. Yep, number 3.
Hey, you're the one that's having a hard time this time, Dean. It's usually me.
Suburbia. Let's be a little more shallow. Maybe I can pull up the nice version of Suburbia Collector's Edition. How about that? Let's be a little shallower.
You do own the Collector's Edition.
I do, so I can put that. And I got rid of the old version.
Have you played the Collector's Edition yet?
I've yet to play it.
All that money on that thing. It's been sitting there for a month or so, and you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, surprisingly, this is a game that my wife really likes, but we just have not got this to the table yet. We've had several other games that we've had to play. So in this game, you are buying tiles to put into your Suburbia, and they're going to be triggering each other throughout the game. So that's a big part of the game. Like if you place a tile, you have to see how does that tile trigger, and the ones that are around it, and the other ones that are in your Suburbia, and then the ones that are in other people's Suburbia. So it's like this big, huge trigger effect, which I don't always love. You know, that's
something that you don't generally like. Right?
Yeah, like a Teotihuacan is one that I don't like because
you
of
like it here.
That piece. Yeah, because it makes more sense, right? So it makes a lot of sense why things trigger. The theme really comes in strong in this game. I'm trying to find some better gameplay.
While you're doing that, I've only
pictures.
played the app, so that's why it's not on my list. I actually think this could very possibly be in my top 10. It's possible when I play the actual physical copy, because I enjoy the app. I just haven't played it enough. I haven't played the physical copy, so it didn't make my list. Because I like tile placement and I like engine building, and you're doing that in this game. So I think I would like it. I might not love it, but I think I would like it quite a bit.
Yeah, engine building is super strong in this one. And also theme is really strong in this one. You can tell good stories about the cities that you're building. And I really enjoy that piece at the end of it. I rarely win this game, but I usually have a bunch of money. That's usually what it comes down to.
Well,
so anyway, Suburbia.
Life.
I like this. It is.
That's what Dean just said. The most important thing in life is money.
Yep.
Untrue.
All right.
So that's your number 3. So my number 3 and your number 2 is the same thing. So 3, 2, 1. Carcassonne.
Carcassonne. I already threw it up there. Carcassonne.
You're supposed to say it with me.
This is the grandpappy of them all, right?
That's me. I'm the granddaddy. You're the daddy and I'm the granddaddy.
Okay, so Carcassonne is the most classic of all the tile placing games, right? This one came out in
That's exactly right.
2000, and this is a game
that's back in some Tigris and Euphrates days, man. Look at that. I've got 2 games on here, some old school games, huh?
That's right. That's very true. That's very true. So people love this game, including us. Especially, I think we can both say this. We'll throw this out there.
Ooh,
I think
you okay over there?
I think the base game is fun. The base game itself might not be on my list, but you add in the Inns and Cathedrals, you add in the traders and builders.
Mm-hmm.
You add those in, and this makes for a decently, meaty, maybe not meaty game, but it's meatier for sure than just the base game.
It's out of this world. It's meatier.
Yep.
There you go. So let me jump in there and say 100% it would not make my list based on the base game. The base game is too luck driven for me. I mean, if you draw a bunch of roads, there's nothing you can do. You're going to lose the game. You're not drawing the right tiles. I don't think there's hardly anything you can do. It's going to be really, really hard to win the game, especially if you're playing with people who are good. So base game is just an okay game for me. But with that being said, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute, like I did on the podcast about this game, Dean. You start adding, as Dean said, Inns and Cathedrals. You toss little traders and builders on there. Maybe you toss the abbot on there, whatever. You start adding these expansions to this game, and it does get thinky, and you get to have a lot of several different paths to victory or different paths to scoring victory points in this game. And I will say this, if you haven't played this game in a while, I'm preaching to the people who are going to say, oh, Carcassonne, come on. You're telling me number 2 and number 3 of all time? Now, there are going to be people that agree with us 100%, but there's also going to be people that be like, I've moved past that game. If you haven't played it recently and you haven't added an expansion or 2, and I'm talking about Traders and Builders and Inns and Cathedrals are my 2 favorite expansions. If you haven't added something like that, go back and try this game again. Go back and add those expansions, try it again, and I really think this is an amazing game. It's a great game. And another thing I mentioned on the podcast is that I feel like Reiner, oh my gosh, I almost said Reiner Knizia because I was thinking of Tigris and Euphrates. Klaus-Jürgen Ried, what he is brilliant at doing little things that are very simple that are just smart, right? You throw an inn on there, and now you can get 2 points per road. To me, that fixes the road problem because you can score a lot of points with roads. You add the cathedral in there, but then, of course, if the inn is on a road that doesn't close, you don't score points. The cathedral can be a really mean tile because you could hurt somebody and hose them with that. I don't care. We're playing Carcassonne. Come on. Don't get your feelings hurt. Don't stomp off, Dean. Stop stomping off. Don't flip the tiles.
I don't do that.
Let's do it. Let's just play the game and let's just get a little angry at it. It's not angry at all. Anyways, I'm done. This is a great game.
It is. I was trying to look up a picture because I'm a component guy, John. So I have the winter version of this game and have changed it all the meeples with these cool thematic, Santa Claus, Yeti, elf, gingerbread man, that sort of thing. We play this. we play this every Christmas, especially. We play this a lot during Christmas time with that winter theme, and I think that's a lot of fun. But and that's mainly just the base game, and I still enjoy it. I still think it's a lot of fun. Again, not the heaviest experience, but the player interaction with this one is, can be really heavy, which is one, I like a lot of player interaction in games. So I think this is a great game. I love it.
There can be, if people can get their feelings hurt.
Yep.
Get in on their cities or mess up their cities. But hey, to me, it's all part of the game.
Yep.
All right. Amazing game. 2 for Dean, 3 for John. Now my number 2 is Keyflower. Dean did not have this, I guess. This is ranked 52 overall, Dean. So come on now.
It's a top 15 game for me or something like that. Top 20.
Yeah, he doesn't think about this as tiling. I absolutely do. You focus on the auction, right? That's kind of one of the things that you really like about this game. But tile placement really matters in this game. This is a tile laying, engine building game, right? You're getting these tiles, you're placing them into your village. Where you place them absolutely does matter, because you are going to have to deliver goods from over here to over here, or whatever, especially whenever you're trying to get in-game scoring or upgrade your tiles or do different things like that. It's got a brilliant auctioning mechanic where you're using your worker placement, your meeples, that can either be worker placement, you can place them as and do the action, or you can see it in the middle there where you got the meeples around the hexes. Those can also be used to try to bid on and get those hexes. And what's so brilliant about this game is that those two things work at the same time. So like you have these big tugs, like I really want that tile. I only have, a couple green, but I also want to go and move some goods around, because the other thing that's really smart about this game is you can put your workers on someone else's village and get the bonus. And so you're going, I want to use this now because I don't want Dean to get on it. And then it makes it more expensive for me to use because he's used it. Now I've got to place 2 yellow workers on there instead of 1, or whatever it may be. This is a great game. I enjoy playing all the time. And this and Carcassonne were really close. I just kind of flipped a coin, but this is good. This one has grown on me.
Yeah, it's not that I don't view this. It is a tile placement game, no doubt. It has a tile placement element. I think it's until you get I just think the tile placement part isn't as important until you get the farmers expansion. It's important because you have to have them in the right spot, but those decisions aren't always like the most interesting, like where you place those, I think.
I understand that. But for me, it does matter. And I like to look back and see my tile built city. That's what gives me the tile laying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely love this game so much, though. So much fun. This is a great game.
Wonderful game.
And again,
all right.
A lot of
our number ones line up exactly.
All right.
They do it, Dean. Say
1, 2, 3. Glen More II Chronicles.
A new game.
A new game.
2019.
New hotness.
We've talked about this a lot. It's not the new hot. That's the thing. It is creeping, but I don't know if it's because of here in the States or what, Dean, but this is like such a great game that is absolutely amazing, and it needs more talking about.
It definitely does. The rank is 467 overall for a game that came out last year, which is pretty.
That's good.
That's pretty stinking good.
They didn't even get. Did it get a nomination even for a Golden Geek? It did, but I'm thinking not for game of the year.
No.
And I'm like, come on, like this is so good. How did that not get at least a nomination for Game of the Year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, I played Glen More I, and I really enjoyed Glen More I, but there were some issues that I did not care for, and they really fixed those in this game. But the reason why this one is on my list because it's so cool. So when you place the tiles. You have to have your meeple in place to be able to place those tiles correctly.
Like what you see here, so
right.
I'm just saying,
right. Yeah.
I wasn't dogging on the picture you picked. I just didn't want people to think.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find one that has any of those.
What matters is you have to place your tiles, is what Dean is going to say, based on why you're selecting that. I know it's hard to think and talk and try to do that at the same time. You have to place them next to one of your Scotsmen. And the cool thing about this game is whenever you're placing your tiles into your village, your town, whatever, it's going to set things off based on what you place it. And so you're actually going to set off everything that you place it next to. Right? That's a okay picture, but still not the best, is it? That's okay.
No, there's not a lot of good gameplay.
Yeah, I know that
sounds.
Maybe we need. There you go. Maybe we need to take some pictures and throw it on there. There you go.
Hey, they're waving at us too. It's like they want us to show.
Hey, how you doing, little guy? How you doing, little guy?
But how they trigger is what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I love that piece of the game. So like when you place a tile, it triggers those around it. So you might gain resources. You might have an opportunity to trade things in for points, or just straight up get points, or whatever those tiles around it are. And that's the tile placement in this one is maybe the most important out of
super important
any of these games that we've talked about, because of that, right? Because of how they trigger each other.
Yeah. And then they add that overbuild tile brilliance, where it's a tile, like if you're surrounded, like the one tile in the middle, you're not going to be able to trigger it again unless you have an overbuild tile that you put in there, and then it could trigger everything around it, or, which is just a brilliant. And then I love the way the game scores, and that the game, all your scoring is completely relative to the other players. So however many whiskey they have versus how many you have, however many tiles they have in their city versus how many you have, landmarks, different things. So the game to me feels different a lot, because it's just like, you can't just go, I'm going to go for a whiskey strategy. You will lose the game. It has that you're building your own city, but it feels very heavy player interaction, because you're going to Rondell and you're constantly looking at what they have and going, okay, they have this many. Okay, I need this many. They have this many. I have this many. So I just love that. And then the last thing I'll say that I love about it are the Chronicles. It wouldn't be number one if it was without the Chronicles. I still really enjoy the game. I think it's fun, but I think it would get a little samey if I didn't have those Chronicles. But you do have the Chronicles, and it's like what I mentioned with Carcassonne, adding those little small, like, oh, let's add this little expansion. They're not that complicated. They're pretty simple usually. Even Klaus Jürgen Reed did one for this, the Highlander. But adding that and mixing and matching those make the game feel so different every time you play. I love this game. This is one of my favorite games, like, ever.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, it's way up there for me too. I agree with all those things. I think it may have made my list, but not as number one without those Chronicles.
Yeah.
It does. It feels like you're playing a new game, like each time you pull out the different Chronicles, and you can mix and match those as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it adds too much where it's overwhelming. Now, some of them do. Some of them are heavier, and I like that you have that variability.
Even the heavier ones aren't like crazy, though.
No, not at all. But I think you can start off by doing like the boat race, that dragon boat race. Some of those that are just real little tweaks, but those little tweaks can make a big difference in how you play the game. And I really, this is one of the best games out there anyway in general, but also, for tile placement, this is my favorite for my money. Yeah,
for me too.
So that is our top 10. Both of us have Glen More II as our number one. Let's tell people how they can get in touch with us, John, and then we'll kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, if you're enjoying our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to it. Even click on that bell for notifications for when we come out with new videos. We mentioned our podcast. You can look on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all those. Just look up MeepleTown. We're at MeepleTown Games on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we are MeepleTownGames.com if you want to peep that out. Peep that out. That's we're Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild number 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.